All right. Good morning, world. Back at it again, out in the main area of the man cave shop thing. The man cave shop thing. Shop with the man cave in the corner. Adventure Doggy has her bone down there on the floor. And it is pissing rain. And all of my laundry is on the for the boat. My bedding and all my fishing clothes is on the clothesline in the backyard. Whatever. I'll chuck it in the dryer. So, here we are. Again, so many people in the world have so much truth that is not heard mainstream. It is absolutely ridiculous on so many topics. Tried to sleep in this morning and decided to go through one of my inboxes and found a whole pile of unread emails. They're not hard to miss. Not hard to miss. One inbox has 12,700 emails in it, and that's the smaller one. So many people out there, isn't there? I don't know how many. I mean, imagine there's a shit pile of other channels on YouTube and other avenues that are geared up to this topic, and I'm sure they're all going strong. All people combined that are seeing and speaking out loud has got to be a phenomenal part of the population, don't you think? I shaved all my face off. I don't shave in the mirror, I just shave in the shower. Hope there's no blood on my face. If there is, oh well, who gives a shit? Now, where should we start? Before I start babbling about something. Excuse me. Hold on a minute. All right, what's this? Let's just get right into the bottom of the lineup this morning and start hearing from the people. This is titled Question mark, Time Warp. Hello, Steve. Please do not use my name. Call me Jim. Okay, Jim, I gotcha. This happened in a state forest in western Connecticut while scouting for game trails and white-tailed deer. I've hunted this forest for about 40 years, and I know it like my own yard. I taught my son and nephew how to hunt deer and upland birds there, and always felt comfortable in the woods and the thickets. The past 3 weeks have been strange. I was scouting 2 weekends ago in a downpour, and after about an hour, I stopped in a pine grove and was looking and listening when I felt 3 thumps that I felt through my feet, like when a deer stomps its front legs. I've been around deer when they do this, but never felt it carry up through my feet. I passed off as a deer and kept on. Fast forward, October 21st, 2023. I went back to that area to check the trails and I'd found in there for a good 2 hours, just having a wonderful time. I moved to another location about a half mile down the road to check on an area where we have taken some good-sized bucks. I walked in about 75 feet, saw a good trail coming out of a laurel thicket, so I turned to my right, left the trail, went about 15 feet to a 4-foot rise to look into the swampy area. It was too thick, and wet to follow it. I turned, left 90 degrees, and I went about 20 feet along this hump, stopped and decided to go left and back to the trail. I took a few steps and didn't recognize the surroundings. I went about 50 to 60 feet, no trail. It should have been there. That trail goes a good 900 feet to the old logging cut and the eastern boundary of the forest. I continued on about 100 feet more, looking for the round rock outcropping that when you stand on it, you can see the duck pond. No round rock outcropping, just a sheer ledge, no pond. At this point, I'm wondering what in the hell is going on. I see a laurel thicket to my left, and I know there's a laurel thicket to the left of my path coming in. So I go into the thicket, figuring I'll come out of my truck, which should be about 100 feet away. I saw an opening in the thicket to my left, figuring that's got to be the path. Boy, was I wrong. I came to ledge that dropped about 20 to 30 feet. There's no terrain feature in that part of the forest where I was supposed to be. I started to walk south for a while, about 100 feet, still stalking and looking for game trails. You know how slow you move when doing this. I checked the time on my phone. It reads 3:03 p.m. I'd been in the woods for about 15 minutes. I noticed something white down below and about 400 yards away. I kept moving along the ledge until I could make out a house. I decided to go down there and find out just where in the hell I was. It turns out I'm over half a mile away from where I turned to my left the second time. There's no way in hell I could cover that distance through that forest and thickets in 15 minutes. My 3 left turns should have put me back at the truck. What the hell happened? I'm going back up there this Saturday to recreate what I did. This time I've got the tracker on my phone and we'll see what happens. Thanks for what you do so well. Love that dog. Okay, man, listen up. I'm glad I read this right away. Oh, did I? Shit, no, I didn't. This is a year ago. God damn it. Jim, if you're still hanging on this channel, please email me back, all right, man? Please email me back. So what I would have just said, if I got this right away, I would have said, don't go alone. Bring some kind of GPS locator with you. Don't go alone. Something alarming is going on with that shit. I'm sure, well, obviously it's tied in. Everything's tied in. But our friend Kelly Dan in Mount Curry shared with us about some friends of his live in the native community there, and they were hiking down that trail. The one fella was in the lead, and this is right in one of the most active places I know of for these other people living alongside of us year round. And the one fellow was out front in the lead of the friends, and all of a sudden he was behind them on the trail. Doesn't know what the hell happened. I think that's really alarming to me, as it should be to anybody, because what if whatever it is going down, you don't come back? Or you break through to wherever this other plane is, this other existence is, and you can't find your way back. That would really suck, and I have a funny feeling that has happened. Also, I had somebody else email me quite a long time ago, and they had a GPS tracker on, and they had the map of their travel, and they emailed it to me, and they showed a massive distance on the map from where they lost communication with the GPS tracker and where they all of a sudden showed up. And he showed me where his tracking was on the map. I hope if that person's here, they could email me that back again, because I don't think I even shared that, because I was trying to find it again and I lost the damn thing. And then, of course, last week, when Sarah and I did the big trek down the river out back, and we dropped off a vehicle at the bottom, and then drove all the way upriver and bailed out, I made sure that she came backed away right out to the river with me, and I kept my eyeballs on her the whole time. As soon as I realized that she had seen these 7 sticks on the ground, and all of a sudden they just disappeared. So for me, from learning from all of you, that's a red flag. That's a serious red flag. And I also noticed that 4 sticks, branches, whatever you want to call them, all leaning up against the huge fir tree to the right. So what's going on, right? What's going on with that? The one thing we should be able to agree with is it's going on. That is going on, and it's a very serious thing that's going on, right? Amongst many other serious things, but for all of the people who do and love what I do, that's something you need to take note of, right? And I've always said it in the past, I haven't said it for a while, but if you start feeling awed, you feel the pressure, you feel alarmed, your hair is going up in your arms, and you're in the woods, turn around and walk back the exact same way you walked in immediately. That's the advice I can give with confidence. Don't forget to pass that on to your friends, coworkers, and loved ones, and your children especially. If it feels wrong, it is wrong. Turn around and walk back the exact same way you stepped. Don't get off the trail when you walk back. This next email, I hope that person emails me back. This next email is titled, "The Odd Sounds of Night in the Ozarks and How They Were Explained to Me as a Young Man." All right. Dear Steve, I hope you don't struggle with this read too much. Don't worry about it, man. We'll get there. Please use my name, Tracy Robinson. I'm a free man. I'd like to congratulate you on the new addition to your family. It's a good-looking pup. Well, on with this story. I remember as a young man, about 15 years old, I spent a lot of time working on my old motorcycles and tinkering at night in the shop. The shop sat always back from the main house of my mom's and on my mom's dad's property. I'd always loved working at night. Nobody bothered me. I guess you could say it was my getaway time. One night I was shutting down the shop somewhere around midnight, 1 a.m. I heard a god-awful scream, sounded just like a woman. I climbed up on an old A-frame style swing set engine puller that we've had out in front of the shop. Like that was going to save me from anything. And just listen. It was a distance away in some thick timber that was at the back of the property. It would just scream, raise the hair on the back of your neck. It wasn't too long until I heard a second scream a little further off. The first one was coming from southwest. The second one was coming from the northwest part of the property or further out. They were answering each other. Not sure what I was hearing. I went and woke my old daddy, which wasn't happy. By no means, asked him to listen, so we listened a bit. You could tell it bothered him, but he tried to hide it. He tried to tell me that it was probably a damned old panther, another animal that people don't believe exists around this area. They do. All these years I thought it was a panther, but I'm starting to doubt that. Being a coon hunter and having heard a lot of bird calls and owls that didn't quite sound right at night, I'm pretty sure from what I've heard from this channel, we both know what it was or what they were. Steve, I've got a small theory on an earlier video labeled "Found Full-Size Cougar Tore Apart." I myself think that a cougar would be stealthy enough to sneak up on their young and possibly prey on them. That could be the reason for so much destruction and hate. Just my 2 cents worth. Well, Steve, let's see what this new year brings. Hopefully better things and more minds opened. Thanks for being there and having this site. It's very, very appreciated. Okay, man. Appreciate you, Tracy. This site's nothing without brave people like you, first off, right? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a thought about them and the cats preying on the young, but somehow I doubt it myself, only because of what I have learned from the people here and taking note of everything. I know that cougars are sleazebags, right? As far as opportunist predators go, they are dirt bags. Doesn't matter who or what it is, especially young human children, they'll kill them. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why, because they know they kill human children. A lot on Vancouver Island. A lot of kids have been attacked and killed here in Vancouver Island from cats. You never know. Next one titled, "My Mind Speak Experience." Dear Steve, you're the best at what you do and how you do it. Please never change your style and delivery. I deeply thank you for your channel. Kind words. Thank you. I'll do my best to keep this email focused and on point, but it could get long. I've never told this story before, not even to my 2 best friends or my closest family members. My experience happened in 2002, early summer in the Mississippi River Valley in the state of Illinois. I was a government employee at the time, so I'll keep the place and specifics vague for the sake of the people that have to live around these things. Money Taker and his Bigfoot Tourist Club can kiss my ass. Mine too. I was 2 months into the job and fully enjoying being the new guy in that part of the country I'd never been before. On that day, my job was to do a biological survey on a dry riverbed. It was my first time to this job site, which was a boat ramp used to access the area when the water was present. I parked my work truck with the nose towards the riverbed and the boat ramp to my left. I got out of the truck and took a few steps ahead to look over the area and make a plan on how to start my survey. After about a minute, I suddenly was hit with a sense of immediate danger. The danger smacked into me so strong. It was almost physical, like being shot with a jet of water from a fire hose. Let's call the strength of this jet 70%. All the danger felt like it was coming from knee level or lower, and I backpedaled in unexplained sudden panic. I kept my knees bent and my arms forward because I was sure I was being charged by a vicious stray dog that I'd never seen or heard. Once safely back in the truck cab, I looked all around for the dog that I was sure had to be there, and I saw nothing. After about 3 minutes of confusion and adrenaline burn off, I had no explanation for what had just happened. I laughed at myself for being silly and telling myself I have a job to do, so get out and go do it. I got out a second time and stepped forward to my original standing spot to decide how I'm going to start the survey. I again get hit with this fire hose jet of danger. Let's call it 80%. This time it's from my toes to the top of my head. And I do the same fast back pedal and get back to the truck cab. Both times the feeling disappeared the instant the truck door slammed shut. So now I'm really spooked. My hands are trembling on the steering wheel. Asked myself if I'm having a heart attack or an allergic reaction. Asked myself, why is this happening and what is happening? I sit there for 7 or 8 minutes trying to recompose myself and think. I punch the dash in frustration and tell myself to get your ass out there and do your job. I was the new guy and did not want to be seen as unreliable. I get out of the truck a third time and step toward my original standing spot. Now, everything that follows is happening in split-second sequence, and it will take longer to explain than it did to live through. The moment my foot stepped onto my original standing spot, I get hit with a 100% blast of the fire hose of danger. And I mean absolute fear and danger. Like standing on high-tension bridge that is collapsing with you on it, or standing in front of an avalanche of snow in the last 3 seconds before it hits you. We all have an internal voice, and it is our tone of voice we speak out loud with. We use it every day to make our grocery list and ask ourselves if we just locked our keys in the house. As I spun around and ran for the truck cab, I was saying in a panic to myself in that internal voice, cuss word, get in the damn truck, cuss word. By my second or third step, I see something in my peripheral vision to my right. It's just past 3 o'clock, about 20 feet away. I'm sure my eyes were bugged out, so I may have been able to see it at my 4 o'clock. There was an unnatural brown color like a Crayola crayon with a pear-shaped blob to the size of a squatting heavyweight sumo wrestler. All I saw was a brown blob, but it clearly stood out from the gray and tan shades of brown of the surrounding nature. It also had a presence I could feel. A presence as strong and powerful as a short-tempered rodeo bull. In that split second, I clearly hear myself saying in my head, "Don't look at it, get to the effing door handle." The split second I grab the door handle, I hear my internal voice again, but I am not the one using it. I clearly hear, in the same internal voice that I make my grocery store list with, say, leave now, leave this place. It was stern, commanding, lacking in cuss words, and much calmer than I was. The next split second, I'm in the cab, twisting the ignition key and fumbling at the gear shift. It's now once again my internal voice being used by me in panic, saying cuss word, don't look at any of the 3 rear view mirrors and haul ass, cuss word. After half a mile, I calmed down enough to safely drive home and call it a day. Not quite, but the experience was over. My experience was a complicated series of my panicked cuss words being interrupted by 6 simple, stern, commanding, calm words. Then back to my panicked cuss words, all said in my internal voice I use every day. but something else said those 6 words to me, like listening to a recording of my internal voice. To those who have genuinely heard mine speak, are you actually hearing a tone and a pitch of a stranger's voice, ? Like standing in a room with a stranger and hearing their voice for the first time? Do you clearly hear male or female, or is it an impression you form an opinion on? Or was your experience like mine, with your own internal voice being used by someone else? If I am ever asked if I've seen a Sasquatch, my answer is no. But my next sentence is, because I was too scared to turn around. Thanks, Steve, for all you do, and you and Sarah are in my prayers every week. My God is an awesome God, His Son, Jesus Christ, and He stands at my right hand and steadies me. Sincerely. Okay, man, I really, really appreciate that email and the questions out there for all you people that have had that same experience. So, if you would, if you could, throw down in the comment section below and give your 2 cents to this guy who just gave us a really good, detailed experience. He basically put us there quite easily, right? I think we have heard from people who have allegedly heard someone else's voice, for sure. And we have heard from a lot of people who have heard a message spoke to them in their voice as well. We've also heard from people who have heard their names called out from familiar sounding voices in the woods, but it wasn't the people that it sounded like. Why do they do this? I don't know. Why so adamant to make someone who's innocent and not a threat get the hell out of here now? Why? What could happen to you? Meaning, what could happen to the being that's out there in the woods threatening the innocent single one human being going to survey? No gun, no special ops team, no helicopter, no EMF detector, and high class weapons. What's the big deal, right? Especially for somebody who may possibly, allegedly, potentially be able to disappear or run 60 miles per hour in one direction. You know what I mean? There's so much that doesn't, if you try to just think what humans think may be referred to as common sense or rational thinking, a lot doesn't fit. But then again, from the people who have been communicating with a lot of these people, they say they don't think like us. So I always keep that statement in the back of my mind when I'm getting frustrated, wondering why so many things happen that just doesn't make sense to me. When you outclass these simple humans so fiercely, easily, you know? It's dusty in here. I appreciate you sending that in. I hope everybody that can chimes in the comment section below for you. And that rain's quite loud. My laundry's gonna be soaked. No, I'm not going out there to rescue it. I'll dry it. This next one is titled, My Scariest Encounter That Stays With Me. Hey Steve, I want to say how appreciative it is to listen and hear all these stories you bring on your channel. My mother and I love listening to you every day when you upload new stories to share. Thank you. My name is Mackenzie, Mac, whichever name you prefer, as I'm not afraid of sharing my encounter with anyone, as I'm ready to share of what I experienced. I'm writing this as I'm on the road, just starting a new job, helping load and haul cars across the country from Nova Scotia to British Columbia. Here we go. It's a lot of country to drive across, a lot remote to see things. My encounter is one that brings me flashbacks every night when I go to sleep. And right now is one of those nights where I can't sleep, thinking if this flashback will ever go away. It won't. I'm from this little town called Boystown. Boystown? Boieston. Boystown, New Brunswick. Sarah knows what that is. I was 9 years old when this happened, so bear with me. I was coming from church one Sunday evening in August of 2007, around 9:30 p.m., getting dropped off with my mom, Heather. walking to the back door of the house. And I looked and saw these two big, reddish, amber eyes looking at me 9.5 feet off the ground in the tree line. I said to Mom, "Mom, do you see those big, red, glowing eyes in the tree line?" And she replied, "I don't see where you're looking, Mac." So anyways, I showed her where the eyes were, and they were gone within seconds as I looked again, and I'm saying to myself, what in the absolute F did I just see? Then years later, I clued in as I watched this video of these guys in Oregon telling their encounter fishing on the riverbank when they saw those same colored eyes. They didn't just see one set, they seen two sets of those eyes looking at them from across the river. That's when I really clued into hearing about Sasquatch. I can just imagine of how frightened they were. Anyway, Steve, I appreciate you taking time out of your day, sharing these stories, encounters, etc. I hope this helps by me sharing this encounter for someone out there who may be afraid of sharing what they experienced. I will say it really does help to get your story out there for everyone to hear. Be safe out there in the woods, brother, and may God bless you and your family during this Christmas. Sincerely, Mac. These are all older emails that I missed you guys, all right? There you go, New Brunswick. Not the first from New Brunswick, that is for sure. A lot in New Brunswick. A lot in every state, every province, right? I wonder how many people you've talked to since you first sent this email in to us. This next one's titled, Followed Home. Hello, Steve. Hello, Steve. My name is Miss A. Andrew from Southwest Alaska. You can use my name. My encounter was back in 1993, my junior year in high school. I was helping my aunt and uncle decorate for Christmas till 3:30 a.m. in the morning. While decorating, we'd hear their dogs outside go ballistic over something. My uncle stepped outside to check why the dogs were acting the way they were. We didn't think anything of it and continued decorating. My cousin yelled from her room to ask me if I knew what time it was. I told my aunt I was going to head on home and sleep a few hours before school. She told me to eat something first, so we ate leftovers. After eating, I got up, put my coat on, took my pack, and sorry, you guys. After eating, I got up, put my coat on, took my backpack. My uncle came back in as I stepped out into the porch. He told me to be careful going home. He said the dogs all over the village were barking at something. I smelled something so awful it burned my nostrils. Something like rotting meat. And asked my uncle if it was coming from the porch. He told me it wasn't coming from their porch. I walked down the steps and my uncle asked me if I wanted him to walk me home. I told him I'd be okay. We said goodnight and I walked out onto the road and started walking home. Excuse me. From my peripheral vision, moving alongside of me on my left side, I saw a bipedal creature about 15 feet tall in the tree line. Holy shit. I was afraid I'd freeze where I stood if I looked directly at it, so I didn't turn towards it. I regretted not letting my uncle walk me home. While walking, when I stopped, it stopped. I took a step, it took a step. I started walking faster and decided running was a better idea. Adrenaline rush makes you move at an amazing speed. It took me about a minute to reach home and 2 steps running up my parents' flight of steps. Mind you, the top step is 15 feet from the ground. When I got inside, I heard my dogs barking like they wanted to tear apart where they were barking at under my parents' house. I walked down the hall to the window to look at what they were barking at, but decided against it. I was going to wake my dad, but decided I wouldn't because I was afraid my dad would go investigate it and I'd never see him again, so I left him alone. The next morning, my friend called and said she was going to start walking to school and told me to be ready. So I got through eating breakfast, went outside, and saw a few elders holding brooms sweeping the snow. I laughed and thought, why the F would elders be holding brooms sweeping over the snow? I recognized one of the elders as my uncle, so I ran over to him to ask him what on earth they were doing. He told me to go on to school. Being a nosy type of person I was, I had to get an answer and pressed on with asking what they were doing. I got closer to them and saw 17-inch tracks on the snow with visible toes. I suddenly remembered what happened while walking home and started shaking with fear because the track were from the side of the road. I saw something following me. The tracks were along the tree line, trailing behind my parents' house to the window at the end of the hall, and then out of the village across the river. I cringe at the memory of this to this day. These beings are very real. For the people who are out there trying to catch a picture or video of these creatures, they are too intelligent not to notice trail cameras by the sounds and waves of radioactivity coming off of them. I have more stories, but I'll close here. Thank you for reading my story. Keep on doing what you're doing. May God bless you and yours. And you and yours too. I hope you email us back. I hope you heard me read this. And I would love to hear from your uncle why. Why did they sweep? Obviously, they're trying to hide the evidence, but from who and why? Who and why? Why hide it? Why? Why? Why is so many people want to hide this shit from their neighbors and their family? I don't get it, I don't get it. When I was this past week and a bit guiding fishing with people from all over the place, and this topic came up in a handful of times. It's because people from here, but also I've also had other people. I'm helping out my other friends' business out, and I get people that have no interest in this topic. But I don't know where I was going with that. Why do people hide the knowledge, That's what I was getting at. One thing that I've told, the common line I tell people I'm not familiar with, and they may not be familiar with this topic, but they press me for it. I look them in the eye and tell them, first off, I didn't ask for this. And I don't smile because there's nothing funny about it. And I look at the people who are, a little bewildered in the topic, and I go, do you really think that one morning I woke up and I thought to myself, I really need some attention. What should I pull out of my ass and lie about and make up today? Because I just need that attention so badly. Said fucking nobody ever, right? But anyway. But what I tell them is a big part of my motivation is, let's just say Johnny Smith has his 3 young children and his wife, and they can't wait to take their 2-week camping trip. They can't wait. They're stoked. They got the fishing rods, the canoe, the dog, the camper, and all the yummy food, and the lawn chairs for the campfire at night. And those innocent children, and that innocent man and his wife, both mom and dad, are about to go drop their asses right into ground zero, where a previous group of people just received a lifetime chunk of PTSD and will never go in the woods again because of what terrorized the living shit out of them. And this next family doesn't have the choice. They don't get the fair choice of whether or not he's about to expose his children, his family, to that same potential horror. It's a horrifying experience. I know there's going to be a whole bunch of people who have the fuzzy warm love for these forest people, and that's fine. We're not talking about you and getting to that level. We're talking about people that don't have a freaking clue. And they're possibly about to run into anywhere from 7 to 15 foot tall, hair-covered, human-like thing with glowing eyes at nighttime that's going to scream so and roar so loud it's literally going to shake their bodies. And previously having no idea, right? Not a half a freaking clue that shit's going down. For real, right there. It's not fair. It's such a freaking violation. But if you follow what's going on in the world today closely, it's not even the tip of the iceberg when it comes to violating the people, right? With all this shit show going on. But it's not fair. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. I guess because I never promote this channel. people find it on their own. And I guess that's almost, well, I don't know if that's unfair or not. You know what I mean? You know, like I always tell people, you can't push this topic on anyone. It's a waste of time. Unless you want to be a douchebag on TV, right? And have some kind of a bullshit entertainment reality show that misleads people nonstop. But that's the only form that I've seen this topic pushed on the general public, right? It's just a joke. It's disgusting, it's insulting, it's a waste of time, and it's insult to intelligence all the way. But I don't know, am I guilty for not trying to engage with the public? Possibly. Because let's face it, if you even read the title of my this main YouTube channel, you wouldn't even know what the hell is going on with the channel, right? Right? Obviously, I didn't, I guess if I was a professional marketer, I was concerned about marketing, I would have more of a catchy phrase for the title, right? I mean, I just threw down my domain name, howtohunt.com was my original title, and then this shit started flowing. And next thing you know, we have over 30,000 emails, so I had to change this to the facts. We just put the facts on it. I'm babbling, I know. That's the summary of my babble. Am I guilty for not letting the public know intentionally what's going on and just keeping it to us? Because I know, I mean, I don't even talk to people. I try not to talk to strangers about this topic. Should I be? I don't know. I guess because what I'm saying is the majority of the people that come here, they've already had that experience. They've already entered the club of no return. They're looking for answers. And while you dig, when you dig into this topic, you find us. That's the only way. So what I'm saying is, what about all those people that are about to have their experience and haven't a clue, right? And all we got is a fucking douchebag reality TV show to pre-inform them. Oh my God, right? I don't know. Maybe tonight I'll read the comment section. Throw down your thoughts on that. What should we be doing? What's the right thing to do? Sit here and wait for the people to find us on their own like we have been doing? Or, I don't know. Let's get back to the people here. See how my brain works? My brain just doesn't quite mesh up with my lips smoothly sometimes, and my inner voice starts speaking out loud. 3 possible encounters. Okay, how long is this one? This is a frickin' Encyclopedia Britannica. All right, don't mark that as read. There's not enough time to read that right now. Mark this as read. 1979, Upper French Broad River, North Carolina. Steve. This thing's still recording? Yeah. This is the Blue Ridge Mountains of Appalachia. We are near the Smokies. We are near the Smokies Mountain. Dad served in the U.S. Army. My granddad was a World War II combat veteran. I was already fishing, horseback riding, tracking, and hunting when the following event that took place. I was 13 years old. Myself and 3 friends went overnight camping on the French Broad River. We set up downstream of a creek mouth. We had 20 yards of thick cover that lay around us. We could see across the river. I'll peel back the layers so I can get to the core. I will forego the tongue-wagging, hypocritical conjecture mongers. Robert and I got into camp. It was daylight. We caught, cleaned, filleted, and fried a few fish. Jeff and Mickey made it after a little league baseball game. It had gotten dark. We ate and laughed. I thought there were birds flying through the tree canopy. Robert said, "No, someone's throwing rocks at us." There must have been 10 rocks thrown. They were river gravel, about large coin size. Jeff and Mickey remained in camp. Robert and I began a diligent search. We had a cornfield on one side and the river was on the other side. The search left us with a tractor path leading straight ahead to an empty cow pasture. We get closer to the pasture. I see a shadow go right to left. It was taller than the corn. It could have went right here. I would not have seen it. We move forward. I see a dark area in the fog. It is out in the pasture, where I see it appear out of the fog. It stands for maybe 7 to 8 feet tall. I have no idea of its width, thickness, or weight. I see its facial features. It's primate. There's no muzzle, no protruding chin. It has turned to look our way. It could have escaped into the fog. It moves to the right, where it enters thick fog, I think. Sorry, I'm just having my computer screen took off there. Where it enters thick fog, I think. I might catch it out on the other side, if it did not leave. I'm reading with the punctuation, okay, guys? Periods, periods, periods. It ends up straight ahead in the direction we are walking. He's got periods everywhere. I got to make sense of this myself, but it's okay. We'll get through it. It is past the fence in the field. It goes out there and sits. It has its back to us. It holds tight, while 3 others cross the pasture on our right. They hold tight, then move. I mistook them for cattle, but the farmer would not move cattle without a reason. These 3 were one behind the other. The lead one reaches the far pasture corner. I see it standing. It is a shadowy silhouette. It is facing up the field where we were. Where the one in our path was sitting, it disappears into the wood line. The one that was sitting straight to our front, it gets going across the field. The other 2 do the same. We broke off the search. When we returned to camp, I do not think, I only said, whatever it was, it is gone. Keep the faith. Brian D. McCall, Pisgah Forest, North Carolina. Okay, there you go. I picked up what you're putting down, without a doubt. Why? I guess maybe it is the young ones chucking the rocks, right? You never know. You never know. Okay, this next one, not too long. So many, isn't there? There's so frickin' many people that need to be heard. Angry Roar, Santa Fe National Forest, New Mexico. Hi, Steve. This is probably not worthy being read publicly since we did not get a visual, only extremely loud, almost ear-piercing roar. Oh, it's getting shared. But it could be added to the files, so to speak. It was about 2014. We were hiking in the Jemez Mountains near the Valles Caldera Preserve at around 10,000 feet elevation in northern New Mexico. We decided to go bushwhack straight up a slope and had to slowly work our way through a big area of blowdowns. To our left was a very dark spruce thicket, very thick, dense area of forest. Suddenly we were stopped in our tracks by a monumental roar coming from the spruce. It was not a growl, not a screech, but came closest to sounding like an African lion, only deeper and louder, really loud. So unbelievably loud that it vibrated inside your being. And there was anger in that sound. Whatever it was did not want us there, and we instantly knew it. We all sort of just looked at each other with comments like, "What was that?" While we stood in amazement. A second roar followed, but not another sound. Excuse me. No branches breaking or twigs snapping as you might expect if a bear were moving through. In fact, everything was silent. No sounds at all. No bird song, just creepy silence. It was almost like time froze. Not to be overly dramatic. After a minute or so, we gathered ourselves to continue. The general consensus was that it must have been a bear. But I've sure never heard a bear make that sound, and I didn't believe that. I'd not ever given much thought to Sasquatch, though What little info I had gleaned over the years convinced me there was too much evidence to doubt its existence. At that moment, I completely believed that's what we heard, and said so. The others scoffed the idea, but we changed direction and went back down a different way. Thank you for giving a voice to so many who have had to keep these experiences to themselves. Deb P. P.S. As I write this, I'm listening to your video May 18th, and you just read the scary encounter in Victory Bog in Concord, Vermont. We live only a short distance from there. One day we started a hike on a trail there, and nothing real dramatic, but we just suddenly didn't want to continue. Things didn't feel right. It was wet, and we said to each other, we don't want to hike through the boggy trail. Now I wonder. Yeah, no doubt, right? No doubt, especially when you hear from the people. The knowledge from the people, right? It's good, though. It's good. It's good that a lot of people are listening and taking note while they're on their hikes, feeling the pressure, right? Who's next? One more, and I'm going to get ripping. Am I a member, question mark? Well, just the fact that you found us and wrote a letter, probably you are. Hi, Steve. I'm a 66-year-old grandmother of 5. I live in the Kittatinny mountain range of northwest New Jersey. We've had sightings of Sabe as far back as the 1970s. I learned about the Sabe at Girl Scout camp in Upper New York State in 1971. Our counselor scared us to death with these stories. I believed every word she said. It started my lifelong interest in the subject. I've never had a sighting, but all the stories got me thinking. My house was in the Swartzwood State Park in Sussex County, New Jersey. We were surrounded by woods. At night during the summer, I'd sit on my deck reading by citronella candlelight. The family was sleeping, and it was my quiet time. I would hear what sounded like a man walking in the woods. We have deer, black bear, foxes, and the occasional coyote. I knew the sound was none of these. I thought I had a stalker. My husband thought I was nuts. The sound of owls was very fake and was from different areas. The whistling was very strange as well. The fear this gave me was intense. And it would go on, and I would go in for the night. Sorry. I never associated this with the Sabe. No, I'm not so sure. Listening to the Hot Hunt family stories had me wondering if it really was a Sabe. I've been a believer for years. I love your channel. I'm fascinated by you, Sarah, and all your animals. My political and social views are the same as yours. Thanks so much for being a voice of reason in this screwed up world. Many blessings to you and the family. Feel free to use my name. I'm too old to worry about the bullshit. Nancy Curtin. Nancy, appreciate you, your bravery, your honesty. You know what it was, right? You know what it was. Not a doubt about it. Not a doubt about it. Old Venture Dog passed out. I took her on a run from hell yesterday. Holy. Wiped it right out. Now, that's it for emails. I'm not sharing any more today. I'm going to get ripping. There's a lot going on in the world right now. There's a lot going on in the world. If you know, you know. If you don't, by now, you're probably not going to know, right? With the amount of shit that's been going on, but I'm quite certain it's all going to be coming to a head fairly soon. Unfortunately, hope you're all ready for it. I really hope and pray that everyone here can maintain a stable home and health when whatever's coming's coming. Arrives, but it's coming. It's coming. You got to wonder sometimes about this lifetime. I wonder a lot, obviously. It's almost like, I wonder if, it's almost like we're here just to be tested in a way, being alive right now. We just keep getting test after test after test after test thrown at us, right? And the tests keep getting more outrageous. Like, all right, we're going to throw this at them and see how they react. All right, now let's just ramp it up. Now let's throw this at the people and see how they react to this one. And then they ramp it up again, and it's not stopping. It just keeps ramping up and ramping up and ramping up to the point it's frickin' insanity what's getting thrown at us, the people. And if it is a test, it's one hell of a test. I hope it means that those of us who pass the test in the right way, in the eyes of whoever is dealing them, does that mean we get to go on to a better place? Does that mean if we pass these tests correctly, if we react correctly, if we pass these tests correctly, does that mean we get to go to a better place? And we get to learn more? Or if we fail, do we have to stay here and repeat these frickin' nasty tests? I wonder. I'm trying to make sense of it, right? Hopefully that makes sense, but I don't know. We're going to find out. But man, oh man, are we being tested if that's what is going on right now? Whew. Anyway. What else? I had a couple of thoughts the other day about nighttime. How so much shit goes down once the sun goes down. Why is that? It also made me wonder I wonder how many people out there may live like this. Probably not many, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a bunch. But imagine if, the sun goes down, we go down. The sun comes up, we rise. But what if we were to turn it around? I wonder what you would learn, see, experience if you went against our normal biological clock, meaning the sun came up, you went to bed. The sun goes down, you wake up, and then you roam the night, observing, living, and looking, and hearing, and smelling. Right? I wonder how much more crazy-ass shit your average person living rural, like me, what would you see if you turned your clock around? Right? So we're talking a lot of nights, all night long. Being awake, observant, well slept because you slept all day, and not missing a thing. Imagine. I can't even imagine. Who knows what the hell you would see and learn about if you turned it around and you lived by the night. That would be pretty bizarre, wouldn't it? I wonder how many people have actually tried doing that. I wonder if I should try that one time. Sometime, when would that have to be? That would have to be like after hunting season, obviously. Not in the summertime. It would have to be a winter activity for me. I wonder if I should just do it. Probably drive Sarah bonkers, but I wonder if I should do it. I wonder if I should take out 2 weeks. 2 weeks of my whole life. Maybe a bunch of us could do it at the same time. That might be frickin' interesting, right? If a bunch of us nailed down 2 weeks of the year on the calendar, and what we're going to do those 2 weeks, well, we're going to, in the initial, I don't know how many days it would take, I haven't a clue. How many days would it take for us to turn it around so we're comfortable and wide awake at night? Not groggy and, oh my God, I got to try to stay up. I mean, fully get transitioned to train your body and your mind to go to sleep during the day, and when the sun goes down, you become awake, alert, wide-eyed, and start observing all night long for the remainder of the 2 weeks. And then compare notes. Man, that would be creepy, eh? What would I do? I don't know what I would do. I'd definitely go in the woods. Without a doubt, I'd go in the mountains. I'd go to the mountaintops. Hopefully it wouldn't be cloudy, overcast. I have my thermal with me everywhere I went, for sure. That'd be something else. You'd have to have a thermal. Thermal, vision, handheld, anything. Anyway, think about it. Would that be insane if we get a handful of people spread out around the planet? All right, let's do this. Are you guys ready? We're going to do it. Maybe videotape some of it, and then we can all come together on here and compare notes. I think I'd be game, especially because I've never done something like that ever before. So be a bucket list check off too, maybe. The time I became a vampire, right? I'd be down. Yeah, I'd be down. I'm down. I'm in. Who's in? Let's do it. When? February. I can say with confidence the month of February, I could probably pull it off. Anyway, moving along, I got to get my ass in gear. I got to do the whole gamut again, get all my gas jugs together. I got to get my laundry in the dryer, pull my gear together, and head back out. And I think I have got to go at it for the next 8 days straight. 4:30 in the morning, beat the crap out of yourself all day long. Bed, eat, go to bed, get up, do it again. 8 more days. There we go. I will be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. Write it in. Share my story at howtohunt.com. The Club of No Return decals are in the link below. They're going by regular mail. I think there's a handful of people it's caused. Going regular mail has caused nothing but grief, but I assure you, Sarah hasn't missed nothing. It's going by regular mail. They don't give you a tracking number, which is unfortunate. So I don't know. What should she do? I don't know. Offer them up as a decal with a hat or a decal with a shirt or something like that, and then you get your tracking number. I don't know. That's her department. I got too much other shit on the go. That's her world. But anyway, all the links are down below, and I'll be back later. Oh yeah, I finally got my first fishy. Oh. Keep digging, keep digging. Whoa! Oh, it's a nice one. Oh, yeah. Oh, jumped right out of the water right here.
So keep going?
Yeah, keep jigging. Oh, yes.
We'll get the one back from yesterday.
Ready?
Yeah.
Under the chin, deep. Deep under the chin. Deep, let go of the bag. Oh yeah, bag him, hold him down. Right there. Yes. Look at that. That's a beauty. Hey? Yes.